Hey everyone, Professor Lamar here, and welcome to video 3 in our Chapter 9 series. Here in this video, what we're going to talk about are different things that we should consider when we design an experiment. So to just jump right back into this PowerPoint, we're going to talk about some additional controls here in this video, such as demand characteristics and the placebo effect. Now, demand characteristics are basically any feature of a study that could inform participants about the purpose of the study. And we have to be careful about demand characteristics because if participants understand what us as researchers are really interested in observing or measuring, then will they continue to act naturally? A lot of the time they won't. And so demand characteristics could be a variety of things, maybe questions that are all about one topic, and therefore let participants know that if all of the survey questions are about a certain thing, then maybe that's what researchers are interested in. Demand characteristics could involve other things as well, but they basically allow participants to know what researchers are really interested in. And therefore, if participants understand the true purpose of the study, they might show more reactivity, where awareness of being observed changes behavior, or they might also try to act differently to maybe help researchers confirm their hypotheses or also go against what researchers might want. Now, all of this is problematic because as researchers, we just want our participants to trust us and act naturally, and that's it. And so demand characteristics kind of interfere with that. So we can reduce demand characteristics with deception, where we don't tell participants about the true purpose of the study. But when we use deception, we have to be really careful. We can't deceive participants in a way that would be unethical. And so deception, especially in more modern experiments, must absolutely maintain the ethical standards that we talked about in Chapter 3 with the APA Ethics Code. Also, if we ever use deception, we always have to debrief our participants. And generally, again, it's always best practice to debrief whether deception's there or not. So all of us for our research projects will have a debriefing form. Now, regardless, if we don't want participants to know the purpose of a study, we could deceive them, theoretically, and use some deception to say a study might be about one topic when we're really interested in another. We could also, if we have, let's say, like a survey with 10 questions that measure a construct we care about, if we don't want participants to know that we care about that thing, we could throw in some additional filler items about other unrelated topics. And so that way participants aren't really sure what we're interested in as researchers because the survey could be about a variety of things and we might only care about a certain number of questions on that survey that measure the constructs we like or care about for our research, but participants aren't able to know that because they're taking a survey with a variety of different things in it. So think about your own research projects and if you are likely to have any demand characteristics in there. And if there are demand characteristics, will that negatively impact how your participants act? If so, think about maybe having some filler items in a survey or things like that. All right. Now, another thing we have to watch out for is the placebo effect. And the placebo effect is an effect that I'm willing to bet that many of us have heard about before. So what is the placebo effect? Well, the placebo effect occurs when participants might act differently because they think they've received the treatment, even if they haven't actually received anything. Basically, the results that we get might not actually be due to the independent variable, but instead, the results that we get are due to participants' expectations. Basically, participants think something should happen, so they start to act differently. They might even actually experience different things. But what we're observing is just due to those participant expectations, not actually the independent variable. And so the placebo effect is actually super problematic because if it exists, then the results we see could in no way be connected to the treatment or the independent variable. And that means that we could have something that's totally ineffective that actually looks like it works because our participants expect it to. Right? So I want you to think for a second, if we could have the placebo effect in a design, and this is problematic because we don't know then if the results we get are due to the independent variable or not, how could we design a study to reduce the extent to which the placebo effect would be impactful? How could we design a study to test the impact of a placebo effect? Well, we could use what's called a balanced placebo design. And a balanced placebo design has 4 different conditions or groups of people. The groups vary based on if they expect to receive the independent variable or not. And then also they vary based on if they actually receive the independent variable or not. So if we look at what that could look like here, we have 4 conditions that vary based on if they expect to get the treatment or IV and if they actually do. And so look at these 4 conditions here. Basically, in group 1, right here, people expect to get the independent variable and they actually receive it. In group 2, they expect to get it, but instead they get a placebo, like a sugar pill. In group 3, they don't expect to receive the IV, but they actually do get that treatment. And in group 4, they don't expect to get the IV and they actually don't. Let's put this into a real world scenario so we can see what this looks like. Let's say researchers have developed a medicine to help people sleep through the night, right? And so they are running trials for the medicine to see how effective it is. Does it actually help people get a restful night of sleep? Now, they don't want participants to experience kind of a placebo effect where they think they should be sleeping better, so they end up sleeping better regardless of the treatment. So they break people off into 4 groups. And group 1 is right here. They're told, look, group 1, you're getting the treatment, you're getting the drug, and do they? Yeah, they receive the IV. They actually get that sleeping treatment. People over here in group 2, they're told, you know what, you're getting the IV, you're in the experimental group, you're going to take that sleeping medication. But in reality, they get a placebo. They get a sugar pill, they're not getting the real thing, right? Now, people here in group 3, they're told, look, you're in the control group, you're not getting anything. We're gonna give you a sugar pill just to kind of maintain consistency, but you're not getting the treatment. In reality, they actually get the treatment. They are actually getting the real sleeping medication. And then people over here in group 4, they're told, look, you don't expect to receive the treatment. You're in the control group, and then they actually don't receive the treatment. They just get a sugar pill. Now, the cool thing about this design is that we can observe the effect of a placebo. People who are told, hey, you're in the treatment group, you're getting the real thing, but they actually get a placebo instead. Well, if they show restful nights of sleep, in other words, if their sleep conditions improve a lot, then we know that's actually due to a placebo effect, not the treatment itself, right? So we can really kind of test that out, which is great. But I want you to think about some ethical implications here. Of these 4 groups, is there one that maybe is a little bit ethically questionable? Yeah, this 3rd group here. The group who's told, look, you're not getting anything, but then they actually get stuff. There's some problematic elements with that. And so this 3rd condition here is a little ethically questionable depending on what the treatment is and potential side effects of that treatment. So just kind of keep that in mind. Technically, this is a fully balanced placebo design, but if there are too many ethical issues with this 3rd condition, technically it could be eliminated. And then the placebo effect would have 3 groups that would all be a bit more ethical overall. So this was a pretty quick video. This brings us to the end of video 3. And in video 4, we're going to continue to talk about some things that we should keep in mind when we design experiments like expectancy effects. So I'll see you all then. Bye.